what I'm going to show you is my own, as said, my experience on the safari and how I did it. And with that said, maybe some of the things I shouldn't have done, but I did. Anyway, so it's going to be Tarangire, it's going to be the Lake Manyara, and then it's going to be the Arusha National Park. We're going to talk about a little bit what you do and what you don't. And then at the end, if you have some questions, please ask. We are ready to answer every one of them. So let's start our engines, get into the car, and let's get moving to our safari in Tarangire. So Tarangire, it's actually a fantastic park. It's high population. So if you're a big elephant fan, you need to go to Tarangire for sure. I went there with my cousin and we saw elephants, right after half an hour since we entered the gate. But let us talk about the elephants a little bit later and then talk about when you do this, you have to pay the national park fee. And in the parks that we're going to talk about today, it is more or less a fixed amount that's the same. So Tarangire has a entrance fee of $45 plus the VAT, ending up around $55 to be exact, $53.10. And that's also for the other parks that we're going to visit here today during this webinar. So all the parks, they have a fee that we're talking about today: Tarangire, Manyara, and Arusha for $45 maximum $50, 53.10. So Tarangire, it's well known for its elephants, and you can come pretty close to them. They are herds, and it's the biggest population of elephants in the national parks here in Tanzania. But other than that, there are thousands of zebras, wildebeest, Cape buffalo. You will see waterbuck, giraffe, quite a lot of them, dik-dik, the small antelope, impala in thousands, and then, of course, other antelopes and gazelles. There are also some predators here in Tarangire, and that include lion, quite rare. It depends on when you go and how the climate is and how high the grass is for lion and some wild dogs. So for that, we kind of continue also with this little small clip for you to understand that how impressive it is to see those big animals cross the street, or not, it's not the street, but the road. And here's the herd. And you can actually see them, sometimes going into the park, gathering about the water hole and find up to herds of 300 elephants scratching the dry river bed for underground streams. One of the most spectacular views is when you come to a lodge. And due to the fact that I'm a neutral person here, I don't think it's fair to tell about the lodges, but there are many lodges there. There are lodges and tented camps inside the park, and there are another half dozen exclusive lodges and tented camps immediately outside its borders. So, finding a place to stay, if you want to have a budget or a mid-range or a luxury, it's all there. But this view of this is just amazing. You can't hear it here, but sometimes you can hear them, trumpet, and you hear the voice of the elephants marching on. So imagine you're standing there looking out in the valley, seeing all of these elephants, listening to the birds and to the elephant trumps, and having the smell of the nature, of the fauna. And talking about birds, it's actually around 500 plus different birds species in the park. So if you're a bird lover, Tarangire is your place. a quick view over the lodge, no names, and then we go on. As I said, giraffes, you can come to them very close. And at this specific time, I wasn't lucky enough to see a lion, but I saw a lion print and it was fresh. So they are there, but you can't see them every time. Impalas are great, they are gracious, they are fantastic, and they are there, just to spice it up a little bit. But again, the scenery after a rainfall, and you can see the rainbow, and you can see the landscape. It's just breathtaking. And listening to again, sling out the real Tanzania safari park, and then all this mixed emotions that keeps bubbling underneath you. It's just great, So it's a must for you to visit a park. And I would actually, from my own point of view, I would like to put Tarangire as a very, very high contender, good contender, and it's often overlooked. You want to go to Serengeti and Ngorongoro, but then you forget about Tarangire. So please, Tarangire, that's the place. And I mean, talk about the sunsets or the sunrise when you're lying there and you look out and then you see how the sun is rising or it's setting. It's just fantastic. During the nights, when the sky is clear, you can see the full scenery of, and it's awesome. It's amazing. And you become so very small into all these God's creations on earth. So again, in order to end up a little bit about Tarangire, so if you're lucky, you can see the lions. This one were pretty tired and lazy. I think they just had a meal. Elephants for sure, my highest recommendation. And then again, the scenery. The picture there is about in the night when you can see the moon, and yeah, breathtaking again. I keep repeating myself, but that's how it is. You camp on the tented camps, and you will hear and see the impalas walking right outside, 10 meters outside, and maybe. So that was Tarangire, and now let's go on to Lake Manyara. Comparing to the Tarangire Park, it's smaller, quite a bit smaller. And it's kind of located in between Ngorongoro Serengeti and Tarangire. It's a smaller, kind of tighter, but it's kind of a full package of everything in a small area. It has an incredible bird life, breathtaking views again, and it's actually worth a stop when you're off to the big parks. They have a Lake Manyara lake that is a little bit alkaline side. So the alkaline soda of the Lake Manyara is that thrives on this brackish water. Pink flamingo, for instance. I can hear I'm stumbling over the words. I'm sorry for that, but I kind of get excited about this. If you're very, very lucky, you will see also the famous tree climbing lions. And that's also another reason to visit the park. Otherwise, as the picture says, there are hippos, there are buffaloes, and of course, close range to an elephant. This was about 3 meters from me and my cousin, and this very gracious and proud giraffes, the buffalo in the water holes. I mean, just fantastic. Again, you don't want to miss out taking a safari trip. And please remember Manyara for everything that it has. It also has the largest population and concentration of baboon. If you are a monkey fan, please take there and you will see the small small, what do you call them? Children, monkey children, climbing on the mother's back. But I mean, among part of everything, the hippos, kind of a very nice way of having here. And then again, what about the buffaloes? Pretty cool, impressive, big cows. And here they are a bit curious, but leave them alone, and it's kind of okay. Concerning the Manyara Park, even Ernest Hemingway said it was the loveliest I ever seen in Africa. So listen to Ernest Hemingway and take a visit, a pit stop, and a short day trip, because that's what it's about. Before we go into Arusha National Parks, what you have to do and what you can do in Manyara is you make game drives, of course. They also focus quite a lot on night game drives, and then you have canoeing. And talking about water, you have also hot springs in Manyara to watch, and it's also very close to the Maasai land, so culture tours are often also part of this trip. Inside, there are a few places to stay, but then outside you have different options in order to find your own place to stay. So let's go back further on and visit Arusha National Park. That you forget, I don't know really why. It's pretty small, but it's very spectacular. It's very close to Arusha, so I mean, if you just want a one-day Arusha National Park, visit, Arusha National Park is the best. It's just take around 45 minutes to reach there, and then you can have either a walking safari or you go on a self-drive. There are a large population of monkeys there. Giraffes are there also, quite a lot. You have the buffaloes, you have the zebras. You don't have the elephants. You don't have the maybe that's why the fact is that you don't go to Arusha National Park. It's a bit quieter and wide when it comes to mammals and animals. So it's often overlooked safari, even though it's an opportunity to explore the diversity of habitats in a few hours. And Arusha National Park, it has more or less everything. It is very close to the crater and very close to Mount Meru, and you have this crater and the view, and it's kind of hilly. So if you're going on a self-drive, see to it that you have a very good car, a strong car, and not a tired one. One of the famous things in Arusha National Park is the fig tree. And you can see the small person there on the left, that's me. It's so big that underneath that tunnel you can pass by with a car or something else. The scenery. The scenery is what makes Arusha National Park special for me. It's just fantastic, and again, it's breathtaking. It has a wide fauna. The florals and the species, consign the fauna is just amazing. On a lucky day, you can see Mount Kilimanjaro. And if you want to plan a Mount Meru climb, you can also visit Arusha National Park. So the crater is the fantastic called Ngurdoto crater, whose steep rocky cliffs enclose a wide marshy floor dotted with herds of buffalo and warthogs. Look down on the right, and you can see the buffaloes, going around. It's hard to kind of give the right impression on what you get when you get there, because you just lose it. And it's hard for me to explain. I come back to the word breathtaking, and it is. I come back to the word awesome, and it is. And I come back to the word fantastic, and it is. Just don't miss it. It's a small, interesting park with different kind of landscape, and it will make you think again how wonderful the world is. Just have a look on this. This is the crater. I wish I could explain it better and show it more. Actually, I wish there was kind of a smell factor in this kind of presentation, but that dimension we are lost. So I'm sorry for that. Anyway, yeah, we come back to the do's and don'ts in Safari Park. So for once, you saw me taking a picture of a lion foot earlier in the presentation. Please keep your doors closed. I learned that the hard way. So don't do that. Don't step out of the car. We're actually in a safari park with wild animals. Follow the rules. Be careful. Read on the rules and what is good to do and not good to do. And if you do your own self-drive, please don't do like it. My friends, and it was kind of in the beginning of the rainy season, and I only saw one way to the lodge that we were going to camp, and I didn't see the other way. We came to this river, and we asked ourselves, shall we pass or shall we not? And we said, yes, this is a Land Cruiser. Of course we can do that. But we got stuck in the middle of the river with water up to our breast. And to make a very long story short, we had to climb out from the rooftop and then walk for an hour in the park to reach our lodge because the mobile network was not working, the phone were dead, and it was came to the lodge and they asked us where our car was, and I just said it's in the river, stuck. So we walked for an hour in the wild park. Don't do that, please. Don't do that. When you do a self-drive, be careful. Listen to people around you, and if you're not certain, don't do it. For this time, thank you very much for listening and looking. Or as we say here in Tanzania, asante sana, karibu tena, welcome back. If you're interested in doing your own webinar, you have my email address at the bottom.